Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Lone, and if you're free to play or low spending, stick around because I'm going to be talking about my plans going into the part 2 and going into Tanabata, which is looking more and more like a big landing spot for Dokkan in 2025. Even though it usually is in Dokkan, it's a major celebration. If you're low spending or free to play, and maybe again, I'm not saying this celebration is bad. I'm pretty positive on this celebration. I know people have turned on it. I made that joking video talking about the problems people have with it, how it's become negative, but I'm having fun. I think it's good. Part 2, though, might be a part I skip. Even though we are suspecting, GT, even though we're suspecting maybe a Gogeta and definitely a Shenron, part 2 might be something I skip. And let's explain why and the rationale behind that and what we're looking forward to. So, first and foremost, I have 219 coins here, and I have 126 here. That's about 345, I think. Just quick math. Maybe I'm wrong. Not really thinking about it. But all that to say is I'm a little bit off of a pity pull on the Part 2 banner. And let me skip over to the next segment here then. So I am a little bit off of that banner. However, I have collected every single ticket that we've gotten so far. We've gotten 50, and we'll be getting another 50, I believe, when part 2 starts. When part 2 starts, we'll be able to use these, like the anniversary and worldwide before, to pull on the banners. If you look at my stone count, I'm at 1416. And I say this a lot of times when I talk about stones, but let me just say it again, because I want people to understand that if you're free to play or you're low spending, that if I'm saving like you. I spend the $8 or $10 a month on the subscription, which means on average, what is the actual count? It's like you get like 5-ish stones a day or something, and it amounts to like 80 or 90 stones in a month. That's it. So you could say, oh, well, you're still spending money. I don't buy tickets. I don't buy packs. I don't buy loose stones here or there. I don't buy specials. It's just a subscription. So when you see me saving, I'm trying to, I'm being real. When you see me saving and you're saving, we're doing the same thing. Genuinely. Like, we're saving together. I'm at 1416 right now. If I pull on part 2 and I go for both, I am looking to maybe have to do all the way down. If I want both units, I would have to do 1400 like maximum on the part 2 banner of my choosing, and then hopefully the tickets would hit on the other banner. That's where I'm at. So here's my plan. I am going to do the tickets first because obviously we have, these are just free tickets. It's a high chance of pulling. And if it's to be believed, it's like a 44% chance of pulling the units, I think, is what they said. So that's a great chance. Great odds. That is unbelievable odds. They didn't want to do the just simply give a free ticket out again, so they're giving us insane odds. So my plan currently is to use the ticket on whoever is strongest or makes the best team. Let me repeat that. My plan is to pull on either the strongest, so top 1 unit in the game, or the character. Let's say they're both like 3 and 4, or 4 and 5, or 2 or 6, or whatever. Maybe they're just cool. Maybe they're both like I said, maybe they're cool, but they're not exactly the best units in the game. I'm just going to pull on the one that makes the best team. In this case, it's probably Shenron, because he's going to be the DFE, we imagine. If this is all true, it's going to be Shenron then for me, because I want a strong villain lead, strong quotation marks, hopefully. That is my working plan. So what has prompted this change? Let's spill over into that conversation so that we can keep up to date. But 1416 is my stone count right now. What was it for the anniversary? This means I did 1500 stones on the banners, which was unlucky for me, but it is quite fortunate for other people, right? Like I've gotten lucky this year. I titled it my worst pulls this year, and it's true. They simply were. That said, we have fortunately come into a place where we're gonna get these tickets. Hopefully they pull for me, and then we can move on. So 1400 still strong. This is all of the stones I saved from worldwide last year going to the anniversary where I got extremely lucky. World anniversaries typically give over 1,000 stones. We got a ton of stones for that. And then I've just been saving. Didn't pull on Tau. Pulled on Golden Week. Got lucky there. Is what it is, right? So let's pull over to why I think I'm going to be very cautious going into part 2, because there's not a lot of time between now and Tanabata, especially if you're a free-to-play player. And the thing is about that is what you're looking to do right now is go from part 2 to Tanabata to anniversary, 11th anniversary, okay? You don't have a lot of wiggle room here. I'm telling you this now because I pulled down everything in Worldwide last year. And the 2,000 and something stones I went into the 10th anniversary with were the stones I saved going from Worldwide last year to the 10th anniversary flush. There wasn't any wiggle room between there. I didn't pull on anything between there. I didn't go on Daima. I didn't go on Namek Vegeta. I didn't go on anything. So these are the stones you're working with. So let's go over to why my opinion has changed on the part 2 and why my strategy might be changing. And here we are. Shout out to big homie Rick, who says, as expected, it looks like we're finally getting close to the 6.00 update for Dokkan. Time to see what Dokkan 2 really means. And to that, we've got, dear players, thank you for your support of the Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle. System updates are scheduled to be conducted during the version update planned for mid-August. After the version update, some devices may experience slower app performance. So if you remember what happened with Legends, for a while, people didn't really understand why other devices were getting moved off. Obviously, this isn't as dire as with Legends, where they just said we're simply not going to support these phones anymore. But this is still a big thing they're saying. Like, maybe this is animations. Maybe this is one thing that was brought up. I think Ani brings it up in here. But demo play, yeah. We're skipping ahead a little bit, and I'll just read all this at once. But remember, we didn't get a new mechanic yet for worldwide download, and a lot of times we get like something new. Last time it was the last big worldwide mechanic was the Dragon Balls, and the one before that was really big. It was the domain system, right? So usually worldwide comes with a big mechanic. This time it did not at all, which is surprising. So if we're seeing Tanabata be eyed with such like interest, then maybe we're seeing like the new big thing coming. So 6.00 with Tanabata and Big Daima stuff and in-person event, it's going to be big. Rick says, this is how you make Tanabata feel like a major celebration. Also, this is the first update announcement I can remember where they warn about performance on older devices. It reminds me of the Legends one. So there's that. Live event is on the 6th, so I assume demo play will let you try them before release. Also makes me wonder how big Tanabata will actually be if they're going to market it this hard and they move the new mechanic from Worldwide Celebration to Tanabata. Truly feels like they're going all out. And Rick says, isn't the JP test play in like 2 weeks? What are they planning? The only other instance of an early test was the 2nd anniversary units at the Global Speed Battle event. And last but not least, maybe the JP test play is for the app update stuff, early test, or an early test of the unit since it's very closed off private test, while the global one looks to be focused on promotion and being a pseudo convention. Yeah, that was the last time they did something like that. So that's big. And again, this is all speculation. This could be nothing. This could be Dokkan dropping another million arena. You know what I mean? So ultimately, this could be nothing. But because of the timing, and because we're still quite a bit away from the actual like 11th anniversary, and let me see if I can find a picture of that. Okay, really quick. I seriously as well. I know Truth made a video about this, but I seriously talking about that. We're actually closer to a 5.29. And then Rick saying, that makes sense, but I expect these system updates are preparations for 6.0 in some way. I expect 6.0 to come in November and December, and then we pop over here and we see where that sort of aligns, right? So usually the worldwide download celebration would be placed right here. And even though Rick is saying November, December, September to October, which is, you know, the 2 months preceding November, December, were usually our worldwide time slot. Whereas Tanabata is now in that space. We're really moving in on something that looks pretty big. And so I kind of want to get ahead of it. So like I said, this isn't something that like everyone has to do. This isn't like a, you know, this isn't one of those moments where it's like, you need to save so bad. If you don't save, you're an idiot. But these are the stones left for you. And after this celebration, after this Tanabata celebration right here, there's basically nothing else you can pull on as a free-to-play player. So let me just pull that up and then we'll just get out of here. So yeah, here we go here. So DFE, Carnival, Broly. We have the Easy A here. And I'm saying, by the way, I'm saying again, this is where Worldwide was, where Tanabata is going to be in a few months, right? So Easy A here, DFE, Carnival. Easy A, DFE, Carnival. And then after that, it's slow coming, right? So we got Easy A's, then we went into the Namek Vegeta celebration right here, right? And then like we got this celebration right here. All right. This guy's from World Tournament, I believe. Again, we're continuing to move through. Namek celebration concludes. We get Slug. Heroes, we have no idea. We have literally no idea what's going to happen to this slot. But here's the hero celebration. Again, I didn't pull. So as of Worldwide ending last year, I didn't pull on any of that stuff. So one celebration, completely done. Two celebrations right here, completely didn't pull. Heroes, completely didn't pull. Three, Heroes ends, another celebration, completely didn't pull. That's four. All right, we go into the Gotenks, who I really wanted. Gotenks was insane, right? I missed out on Gotenks at his full power, essentially, right? Anniversary comes five celebrations in, I still didn't pull. And then here is our joint anniversary, right? So that's just some food for thought. I don't know how part 2 is going to play out. I would really like to be a part of Tanabata. And I think I have the highest chance of getting a freebie right now with the tickets and then not having to use any more stones. I think at most, maybe 500 stones on one of the banners if I pull from the tickets just to see. But I'm not going below 1,000. I think 1,000 is a solid number. I think between now and Tanabata, I will have made 1,200 stones free to play. You know what I mean? We would have made 1,200 stones from now to the start of Tanabata. So I'd be at like 2,200, maybe more, which is more than enough to pull both of those characters if I'm lucky, especially if they do the pity system, and then save until anniversary. So there's my plans. If you're free to play, if you're low spending, thank you for joining me. Hopefully this is enlightening for you. Gacha sucks. This is what I'll leave this point with this. Gacha sucks, but you have to make gacha work for you. Because if you spend all of your time at 100 stones, 200 stones, oh, if I just do one more multi, if I just get 50 stones, it's boring. It genuinely, these games are more boring when you're pulling a lot, right? So now that we have a pity system, now that we have roadmaps, I think that's just where we are. Play around these big celebrations. I hope this was informative. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the club. We all go make it, and peace.